Alyssa Smith having trouble holding on to it. And Nneka Ogwumike absolutely just schooled everybody in Dallas in that game with the big double-double.
In the quiet sanctuary of the Clark family living room in West Des Moines, with golden afternoon light filtering through windows that had seen decades of laughter, arguments, and whispered dreams, Brent Clark finally spoke words he had carried silently on his shoulders for over 20 years. His voice heavy but tender as he admitted to his daughter Caitlin, "I was hard on you, maybe too hard, and I've been carrying that guilt ever since." And in that moment, a truth that had hovered like a shadow over their bond began to take shape. For how could a father's love be so fierce, so relentless, that it blurred the line between nurturing greatness and risking alienation? And how could years of unspoken regret be compressed into one fragile confession? Yet the story that unfolded on that March afternoon in 2024 was not simply about apology, but about revelation, sacrifice, and the rediscovery of unconditional love between a father and daughter who had spent a lifetime circling around. Both closeness and distance, for Brent had always known the price of ambition, having once been a multi-sport athlete at Simpson College, where he excelled in basketball and baseball, earning all-conference honors and carrying the fire of competition within him long after his playing days ended. And when he saw that same glint of passion in his 4-year-old daughter dribbling a ball in the driveway with a determination far beyond her years, he made a choice that would shape them both. He would become her first coach, her most demanding supporter, her harshest critic, believing that in his discipline lay the seeds of her success, yet beneath the stopwatch, timing driveway drills and the repetition of "again, champions do it again." There lived an unspoken fear in Brent, a worry that he was stealing his daughter's innocence, narrowing her world into drills, cones, and criticism. And while Caitlin sometimes responded with tantrums, tears, or moments of rebellion, what she couldn't see then was that every harsh word cost her father a sleepless night, for he was wrestling with the same question again and again. Was he building her, or was he breaking her? Was he pushing her towards the greatness he believed was hers? Or was he pushing her away from him forever? And those driveway practices became legends in the Clark household, filled with moments of triumph and tension, where frustration turned into resilience, where Caitlin's tears dried into grit, and where her grandfather, Bob Nitze, would watch her fiery competitiveness and remark, "She's wired special." Though Brent sometimes wondered if that wiring was a gift or a burden, particularly when 5-year-old Caitlin sent her brother Colin crashing into a wall during a basement one-on-one game so fiercely contested that Colin ended up with staples in his head. An incident that shocked the family but also revealed a truth Brent both admired and feared. His daughter carried the same ruthless edge that had lived in him, but in her it burned brighter, harder, almost dangerously, and as the years passed, Brent's voice became the metronome of her training, correcting missed shots, demanding sharper focus, never letting her settle for less than excellence. But the weight of his expectations grew heavier for Caitlin, who as a little girl only wanted to hear her father say he was proud of her without condition. And one evening, at the age of 8, after a brutal practice left her in tears, she finally broke, asking him, "Why can't you just be proud of me for trying?" A question that hit Brent like a hammer. Yet instead of softening, he shielded himself with the response, "I am proud of you, that's why I push you," hiding from her the truth that he was terrified of not pushing enough and letting her potential wither, but equally terrified of pushing too hard and snapping the bond that meant more to him than basketball ever could. And so their relationship grew into one of complicated love, an equation balanced between admiration and exhaustion, respect and resentment, where Caitlin recognized her father's eyes could see every mistake on the court, a compliment on one level but also a burden. For Dad sees everything meant she always felt measured, always performing, never free to simply play, and as her teenage years arrived, her talent was undeniable, scouts and recruiters circling. Brent took on the dual roles of protector and promoter, both proud and anxious, ensuring she had every opportunity, while inwardly envying those other fathers he saw at tournaments. Men who laughed easily with their daughters, who hugged them after games, regardless of missed shots, men who didn't dissect every possession on the drive home. And he wondered if he had chosen the wrong path, if in trying to be the coach, he had failed as the father. Yet Caitlin, though shaped by his relentless approach, also found her identity in it, discovering toughness, resilience, and an uncompromising will to compete, though the unspoken cost was nights when she lay awake questioning whether his approval depended on her stat line. And years later, as she rose into stardom at Iowa and beyond, their dynamic still carried echoes of those early battles, and it was only in that March 2024 conversation, in the safety of their family living room, that Brent allowed the truth to surface fully, admitting the guilt that had gnawed at him and the sacrifices Caitlin had never known. Like the countless hours he spent working extra jobs to pay for her club basketball fees, the quiet refusals of career opportunities so he could drive her to tournaments, the friendships he let fade. He could study film and learn how best to guide her. Sacrifices she had only seen in fragments, and in hearing his confession, Caitlin did not respond with anger, nor with the cold silence he feared, but with a depth of compassion that startled him, telling him that while his methods had been harsh, they had also taught her not just about basketball but about resilience, that she had learned to carry pressure not as a burden but as fuel. And in that moment, daughter and father understood that. Their love had always been there, even when it was masked by drills, critiques, and unsaid words, and the conversation did more than heal, it redefined. The price of greatness was never just hours of practice, but the strain of relationships tested by ambition. And unconditional love was not the absence of conflict but the choice to see beneath it, to recognize that even behind the hardest pushes and the fiercest critiques was a father's desperate attempt to give his daughter wings strong enough to fly. And on that afternoon, with the light dimming into evening, they realized that
The drive and the quickness. This is look, twofold. The starters, the core four, getting some rest, but also
in the soft quiet of that March afternoon in 2024, the Clark living room in West Des Moines became more than just a family space filled with photographs, trophies, and memories of basketball conversations. It became the place where a father and daughter finally confronted years of unspoken truths, lingering guilt, and love that had been hidden behind the mask of discipline and expectation. Brent Clark, once a college athlete himself, had always seen in Caitlin a rare spark, a drive that mirrored his own, and from the moment she picked up a basketball at the age of 4, he had resolved to guide her with an intensity that few children would ever experience from a parent. The cones in the driveway, the relentless drills, the stopwatch clicking, the echoes of again. Whenever she faltered, all of these were more than lessons in sport. They were his way of shaping resilience, determination, and an uncompromising pursuit of excellence. Yet behind the stern corrections and the exacting standards was a man who often lay awake at night, questioning whether he was demanding too much, fearing that he was stealing fragments of his daughter's childhood in pursuit of a dream that might not even belong to her. This duality, fierce love mixed with fierce pressure, defined much of Caitlin's early years. And though it forged an extraordinary athlete, it also left behind cracks of doubt and distance between father and daughter. The breaking point had come in high school, after a loss where Caitlin's brilliance was overshadowed by one costly mistake. On the drive home, Brent dissected every play until Caitlin, weary and tearful, whispered that sometimes it felt like nothing she did was ever good enough for him. Those words pierced deeper than any victory or defeat ever could, haunting him for years as he watched her grow into a national star at Iowa. Her talent undeniable, but their conversations increasingly surface level, dominated by game analysis and statistics rather than the. Brent saw other fathers cheering freely, laughing openly, and wondered whether his own approach had deprived Caitlin of that kind of relationship. Yet, he also saw her thrive, breaking records.